What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and the Animation Chronicle 2021 pack in the OCG just keeps getting crazier. In today's video, we're looking at the new Pure Erase map card, which was from episode 7 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and this card is really insanely powerful. It's pretty interesting what they've done with it to sort of make it not so overpowered where every deck is playing it, but it could be a card that sees a ton of play. I actually went back and watched episode 7 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds to remind me of this card, and man, I really hope we get the rest of the cool treasure cards that Yusei borrowed for that episode. Before that though, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Ridge Wallets. They make these sleek industrial wallets that are way better than your bulky old outdated wallet. They come in all sorts of styles and colors, so you have a bunch of different options to choose from. They can hold up to 12 cards, and they have a convenient money clip on the back for carrying cash. And if you use the link in the description below and use promo code Dzeeff when you check out, you'll get 10% off of your order. Thank you to Ridge Wallets for sponsoring today's video. For today's video, as we've done in the past, I will be showing the English translated version of this card that someone made on DeviantArt. This is not the official translation for the TCG, it's just someone that is a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! And translates OCG cards into English. So we have Pure Erase Map, a normal spell card that says, at the start of your main phase 1, add one monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, and if you do, have your life points. Also, you cannot activate the effects of cards with the same name as the added card until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, or until you normal summon a monster with that name. So this card has a very interesting set of restrictions. First, you have to use it at the very start of your main phase 1, just like with cards like Pot of Extravagance. Second, you have to have your life points. Luckily, that is not a set number of life points you have to pay, which means you will always be able to do that. And finally, if you want to use effects of cards with that same name, you either have to wait until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, or you have to normal summon a monster with that same name. So this card does have a lot of restrictions, and yet I think this card is quite powerful, and it looks like a lot of people online agree because a lot of people are hyping this card up. Where this card really succeeds is when you add any 0 attack monster that you already want to normal summon, and oh man, are there a ton of those. And I'm going to talk about some of those 0 attack monsters in a moment here, but I do want to mention that this card is very specifically designed to not be able to be used with most hand traps. While you could add Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler with this card, you wouldn't be able to use them on your opponent's next turn, so it wouldn't be the greatest play. One hand trap you could theoretically use with this spell is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which for whatever reason is able to use its effect while it is face up on the field, not only while it's in the hand. So you could add Ghost Ogre and then normal summon it. Would that be the best use of this card? Probably not, but hey, it might come up. Also, I know I mentioned Pot of Extravagance earlier, but I do want to say real quick, you probably shouldn't play this card in a deck that plays Pot of Extravagance because they both require you to play them at the start of main phase 1. So let's talk about some 0 attack monsters that you'd want to add and then immediately normal summon. You can add a lot of the Sacred Beast support, cards like Chaos Summoning Beast, Dark Beckoning Beast, Chaos Core, and even Dark Summoning Beast. So there are a lot of Sacred Beast support cards that have 0 attack that you would want to normal summon in that deck. Recently, INFINITRACKs have gained a lot of popularity, and INFINITRACK Harvester is a great card to add with this new spell. It is a 0 attack monster that on normal summon adds any INFINITRACK monster from your deck to your hand. It's already a staple 3 of in pretty much every single INFINITRACK deck, and now in combination with Heavy Forward as well as this new spell, you basically have 9 copies of it. If you were playing a deck with Royal Magical Library, now you have a way to search it out. That might not be the most realistic use of this card, but hey, if you want to play Royal Magical Library in some sort of turbo deck, now you have 3 extra copies. And while it might not matter right now because Tenki is currently unlimited, if that card was to go to semi-limited or limited and you wanted more ways to start your zoo combos, you could actually use this card to add Zodiac Rat Pierre right to your hand. that might not be the most common use for this card, but in the future, if anything happens to Tenki, it might be a viable option. This is also kind of mutant support. I know a lot of people have probably already forgotten about that deck from Phantom Rage, but it was a world premiere archetype, and one of their starter cards, Mutant M5, does have 0 attack points, which does make this card pretty good in that deck. And not that this will super matter, but you can add any FA monster to your hand. That could be pretty cool. Luckily, all of the FA monsters start with 0 attack instead of having question mark attack, which means that they're valid targets for this ability. And that does boost the consistency of FAs by quite a bit. FAs were already not in the greatest spot, and this is coming from someone who played them a few years ago. I doubt it'll make them good at tournaments, but it will be a significant buff to the strategy. A lot of people have pointed out that you can add DD KEPLER to your hand, a very good monster in the DDD deck. Now, I don't know a lot about that strategy, but it does seem like people are pretty divided online about whether or not this is actually relevant. There's already several ways to search DD KEPLER in a DDD deck, so maybe it's not that important, but it is definitely a new card to consider. Dinosaurs could technically use this card to add ARCHOSAUR to their hand. I don't think that is very likely to happen. You already have Oviraptor and Fossil Dig and Miscellaneousaurus, and now you have Scrap Raptor as well with the Scrap Yards too. So you have a bunch of consistency boosting cards in that deck. I'm not sure if you need another card just to add ARCHOSAUR to your hand, because you already have so many great normal summons, and you'd probably rather summon the ARCHOSAUR with Miscellaneousaurus. Plunder Patrol just got some great support out of Lightning Overdrive, and now we have this new spell which can search Golden Hair. So Plunder Patrol is looking like a pretty good deck once we get this new searcher. And I don't know how much this matters, but you could use this card to add Beautiful Princess, and then essentially you have 9 copies of whatever level 4 or lower fish monster you want. Not that people are using Blue Eyes in the TCG right now, but you could add Sage with this card. You could also search Cosmo Tin Can if you're a Cosmo player. You could add the Weather Painter Snow if you're a Weather Painter player. There are hundreds of targets that you can add with this card. I've only barely scratched the surface in today's video, but let me know in the comments if I forgot to mention a card that you personally are very excited about searching with this new card. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Goodbye.